And it's IndyCast number 8. Tyler in the main studio, Ricky Hyde over in Australia. Rob Gregoire is not with us tonight. Birthday for Mrs. Gregoire. Happy birthday, Mrs. Gregoire. I've just spent the week up there in Canada with them, and no, it was not in Markham, where I guess by all rights we should have been. We were in Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, having a good time. Nothing to do with motorsport, which is a very rare thing for us all to gather. But Ricky, you and I bringing us through 2 weeks of IndyCar racing that we've missed since our last episode just because of that. Portland and Markham, and Portland, I would say, was a bit of a normal race, but Markham leading into the weekend, that looked a little hairy based on would we have a track or not.
That is so true. That's the starting of the week for Markham sort of didn't look good, but I think we all fingers crossed that the race was going to produce something pretty special, and it definitely did. I think we can all agree that we got a new winner, a different winner for this year. I think the race itself was fantastic. A shame about the Friday, but you know what? I forgive them. It's their first time. Yeah, it's their first time. There's a lot of focus on Washington coming up, so I know they're spreading their resources pretty thin. I wouldn't even care. It's a small blip. When you get a race like that, I think it makes up for it.
Yeah, that I was hearing kind of word of that and seeing different images of pieces of the track and different things. I think a big issue with that was they weren't given some area of the paddock or the pit lane by whatever business until Wednesday before the race weekend, which that's going to be hard to turn around. But a lot of criticism for that for some folks. But I agree with you. I was only able to watch bits and pieces of the race in the airport in Halifax, and yes. I watched the end of it with Grosjean, thinking that we were going to see Grosjean get his first IndyCar or his IndyCar win there finally, in that underdog team. It was going to be a beautiful story. If I mean, we were all pulling for. I assume you were probably with me in pulling for Grosjean.
I was. I want to see something new. I want to see something fresh, and Grosjean's the person for it. I know he's old, so he's not exactly fresh, but being out the front, it was great to see, and he deserved his podium in the end. And I don't think the podium took away anything. He did a great job. It's all about that street circuit racing. It's all about maximizing your position when you're in the pits, and there is a bit of luck. And he just capitalized on it, and it was fantastic to watch. He actually did good throughout the entire race. He was staying out of trouble, and that was the key. Anyone who stayed out of trouble was going to get up there, and it's a shame that the ones who needed to stay out of trouble, the championship contenders, basically all fell behind Alex, even though they had the chance to probably gain some positions on him. They didn't, and it's I still stand by what I said last podcast. I'm not giving up, but I am close to.
Yeah. With each passing week, I assume that's another nail in that dream, in your tire. But I mean, Alex Palou didn't do the typical Alex Palou, where at that point, I think I had it on my little phone screen. Grosjean's leading. He's trying to hit the fuel number, they say. And I had missed a chunk before that, admittedly. So I tuned right into that after missing a lot of cautions and stuff. And see that I had seen that Louis Foster had a big off there after being really excited, kind of keeping an eye on just the timing and scoring while I was getting through customs and such. And kind of rough to see that. I was hoping for some underdog victory for RLL and for Foster, and then it turned into Grosjean, and so it felt like a day of the underdogs. But I guess, could you call Marcus Ericsson an underdog at this stage? He was kind of seemed like that when they were not sure if they were going to sign him or not. The public weren't sure if Andretti would re-sign him. Here recently, obviously they're bringing everybody back, but I mean, look at how Ericsson performed at Gateway. With the win there, he could have gotten a win there. I'm also looking at how Will Power's been doing pretty well at podium at Portland as well. Like those guys, I mean, and Kirkwood, to say the least. I mean, that Andretti team seems to be carrying a lot of momentum here at the late part of the season.
I agree. Marcus Ericsson's actually doing very well in the second half of the season. When he signed up last week back to get on with Andretti, I thought that was kind of logical. That wasn't out there. That was exactly where he needed to be. And then he's gone and done a great result for them for the last couple of weeks. mate, he's firing as soon as he signed up. I can see Andretti going, and that's why we signed him. Can you stop questioning us? Just let us get on with it. I mean, they lost out obviously with Scott Dixon now moving to McLaren next year. Joseph Newgarden hasn't decided what he's going to do in it. I think it's in 2 years, right? Is when he's
I think so.
He's up for grabs. So I heard the rumor is that they've given Marcus Ericsson the seat to keep it warm for when Joseph might be joining them potentially when they try and go for him in a couple of years. I think they've got the right driver already. And I don't know why Joseph Newgarden would leave Penske. It's the best organisation. I think Penske's just going for a bit of trouble. Obviously last year with the scandals that had occurred. I think they just need a refresh, reset, and next year I wouldn't be surprised seeing Penske putting the foot down and going, okay, now it's time. We're away from that bad blood. Now we should be seen as genuine racers and not changing the sport for our team. We've had a bad year. Now it's time to show that we can rebuild. I'd rather want to be in Penske. I don't know why Joseph want to go anywhere else. And Marcus Ericsson's got a great home, and he should stay there alongside Kyle. It's gonna be a good season next year too.
Yeah. Ericsson's got, I mean, look at what he can do on ovals. He's got the Indy 500. He could have had another one. I think we had that little late red flag the year later or whatnot that kind of got him, and he's performed on Gateway and places like that. And yet he could win, a street race, a road race. I mean, he's got that well-rounded IndyCar driving set that you would want. I mean, that's what you would want from anybody. It's what I think you see with Newgarden, like you said. I mean, he's getting up there in years and experience, and maybe I agree with you. I don't know why he would leave Penske necessarily unless he's just mentally had enough of that, or he just wants to change, like how we've seen Scott Dixon kind of make that change and kind of head in a different direction for whatever reasons he may have for himself.
Well, I'm a big fan of Scott Dixon. Is Joseph Newgarden in the category of being too old? Is he getting on? Because these young ones are coming through now. Geez, only 2 years ago, we weren't even talking about VK and the like. These guys, Kyle Kirkwood was just coming up. We knew they were quick, because they've made it onto the grid. So clearly they're good enough. But now it's all we're talking about. All we're talking about is all these new guys. If you watch Newgarden's race, the poor guy, he was at the back for the majority of the race. It was gut-wrenching because we know he's an absolute talent. But then in saying that, he's easily in the top 10 in the championship. Well, I think he's like 6th or 7th. He deserves to be there, but he's a bit quiet. Is he getting on? That's my worry. These young guys are coming through thick and fast, and I love that. I love the new guys coming in, but I got a soft spot for the oldies because, well, we're old too.
Yeah, I'm with you there. When I see these old names leaving, we talk about it with NASCAR too, is just growing up watching the sport. I grew up watching Scott Dixon and the like we said. So as these drivers leave, at least the two of us sitting here, and I know Rob as well, we would become a bit sentimental about it. But yeah, like you said, you have the new blood coming in, the young blood, and then you have people coming through F1 and like Grosjean, like Ericsson, and now Mick Schumacher's there, and that kind of keeps that floodgate open. Not that it's unheard of. You see Montoya's come through years past, and other people. It's not a new thing, but it's a new lively thing. And just today or yesterday, we see articles and rumors kind of starting that there's maybe a serious conversation for Yuki Tsunoda with Honda to join that open seat at Meyer-Shank Racing as soon as next year. And he's commented on that before, I think back in 2024 maybe, just saying he would be open to it. He wouldn't mind living in America, but he did put some nerves and a little bit of fear in the Indy 500 going that fast, that long at ovals. So then there's that piece. Would they... Do you see Yuki Tsunoda coming to Meyer-Shank, and do you see him doing what some of the drivers like Grosjean comes to mind when he first came in? He did the road only, and he skipped the ovals and skipped the 500. Do you think there's a place at a full-time seat for them to continue to do that split bill of, hey, Connor Daly's going to drive the ovals and Yuki Tsunoda is only going to drive the road to street courses?
If it helps with, not sure if I could say this, but I'll say it. If it helps with sponsorship and gets the money in the team, yes. At the end of the day, the team wants to be on the grid. They're absolutely passionate about IndyCar. They don't want to leave, but they need the money. It's no secret that Yuki probably could bring in some sponsorship because of what he did in F1, as well as just because he was quite big with Honda, obviously, over in the F1 scene. I think it would help the team in the long run to get a bit of funds behind them. But then, of course, he's pretty talented, mate. He got into the Red Bull. That's no easy feat. That's pretty high up there in the abilities of skill set, and he managed to get there, and he did a good job. I know they're all saying that Verstappen made his teammates look pretty bad, but mate, he gave it a crack, and he stuck it out, and he was loyal. He still is loyal to the team, as we know, as a reserve driver. Yeah, I think it's a good idea to get Yuki in there. We need more international talent. I was having to think about this since our last podcast. I was thinking, why isn't the world looking at IndyCar? And yeah, I think we need a bit more international blood. There's plenty of international drivers, but I'm wondering if the people coming in behind it, Yuki's just another opportunity for the world to take a look at IndyCar. I just want to inject more fanship into there. Yuki could bring that, as well as help Maya in the same way of giving them some funds to put into development or engineering elsewhere to make their team stronger for the future beyond Yuki.
I think that'd be good. I would pose this question. Here's a little debate to throw out to you and to everybody out there. Really, is with the IndyCar silly season the way it is, and
the only reason I joined.
I like it. So. You have Mick Schumacher, probably not in an RLL Honda because they've sold that to Dreyer Reinbold. And I mean, there may be people are pushing for Connor Daly. Who knows who could be in that? It could be Mick Schumacher. But let's say you're Meyer-Shank Racing. We know Mick Schumacher has a year under his belt in IndyCar. Not done terrible, has some shining points, but we know he has funding as Yuki would. So if you're going to put one of the two in your Meyer-Shank Racing Honda alongside Marcus Armstrong, do you put Mick Schumacher, or do you put Yuki Tsunoda? What do you think?
Okay, only because I saw the popularity. Who's most popular in terms of followers? I believe it's Mick Schumacher. I got to take Mick Schumacher. I saw he had 3.5 million followers, and no one came close in the IndyCar realm. No one else came. I don't even think anyone had 1 million. That's how much Mick Schumacher had in terms of popularity. I would take it on that alone. Jeez, you're going, what about the performance? What about the driving? He did fine. He did good. It's his first year. It's tough. IndyCar's tough, and he hasn't raced a open wheel championship for a couple of years. He did the GTPs with Alpine for the last couple of years before that. I reckon if we could get him into the seat next year, I think he's done enough to maybe improve. I mean, his average finish is probably 20th, which is a shame, but I don't think that's a reflection on what he can do. I think he could do better. So I'm gonna go Mick Schumacher, but only just by hair. Only just by hair. What about you? Who would you choose?
I mean, I want to go the other way because I would love to see that variety, but I also don't want to see Schumacher pushed out if he wants to come back because, like you said, I mean, he does have the popularity, but also I would like to see what he could do after a year of just driving the RLL Honda. In the Meyer-Shank, I think arguably the Meyer-Shank is the better car head to head with the two. I would love to see RLL pick up and do better. Maybe cut down to 2 cars will make a difference. They've got some podiums this year. Graham's looking better. But I mean, it's only a matter of time before I would assume Graham Rahal steps aside and, runs the team and drives probably some GTDs and IMSA, huh? Stingray Rob, that's,
yes. Yeah.
Well, he's the most financially able, driver in the mix of the silly season, as one way to put it. So I mean, I don't know. He's obviously he's got the money and he's willing to spend it, but would I love to see whatever seat he would take be filled by Yuki Tsunoda alongside Mick Schumacher somewhere and get all these guys on the grid? I think that would be exciting. Nothing against Stingray.
Well, that's the other part. We could get Yuki and Mick Schumacher on the grid. That would be something special. I like that, actually. Yeah. I know we'd debate. I take Mick, you take Yuki, but could we have both? I don't see why not.
I would love it.
I don't see why
That
not.
would be
I'm
ideal.
very excited
Yeah.
about what it's going to look like next year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, I guess it would be a Honda situation. So, maybe you get them in Dreyer and Reinbold or somewhere like that. I don't think we would see Yuki Tsunoda in the open Ganassi Honda. I remain, and I will stick this way. I remain Team Renus VK to the Chip Ganassi open seat. And I mean, VK has proven that, just the last couple of weeks. He has gotten into the Fast Six in that Juncos car.
I'm with you, actually.
Was it Portland? I think it was. He was the fastest Chevy.
I didn't even notice VK, to be honest, after the first half of the season. He wasn't doing too well. Mate, he's turned on the wick. He is going so well. VK would be my pick for the number 9 car for sure. As much as I like Lundgaard,
yeah, we're in good agreement on that. I just would love to see that.
The oval piece. I agree. Now we're supposed to be debating, that's so I should have chosen someone else for 9, but
yeah, you could go Linus Lundqvist. I'm a big Linus Lundqvist fan, but just the opportunities dry up. That's where you have these pay seats, and you want to see them all be, professional kind of paying seats. But I guess that's in the current business of IndyCar, as well as a lot of motorsport. That's just not feasible, I guess, to give us all what we want. Give us Daniel Ricciardo, give us Max Verstappen in the Indy 500. Just give us everything.
Well, I don't know. Is Max? He did say that. Did he say he's scared to do the Indy 500? I think he did say that. Well, he said it's a bit too much for him.
He said it, I think, in more defined terms than Yuki. And I know Yuki did say such a thing, but I don't think we would ever see that. I'm going to have my hopes to see him at the Rolex 24 and things like that, Daytona 24, before any kind of Indy 500.
Yep. Well, actually, I'm going to give Mick Schumacher some more credit. His father said he had no interest and he thought it was too dangerous to do the Indy 500. So if Mick Schumacher can do the Indy 500, that'll be up there if he can get there, and he'll be one up on his dad.
Yeah, get a good performance, get a win. I mean, that would be instant legend. Yeah, yeah. That would be it. I mean, I hope to see him still around and there for it. So we didn't get picks for the Markham race. We put some picks in for Portland. Willpower almost made me look good there, but did decent. I want to look at a little bit about the DC race here coming up, and this is. It opens up and invites the political discussion. We're not going to get into any of that. It is an IndyCar race, a novel IndyCar race, obviously a one-off. The Freedom 250 at the DC Street Circuit looks like a pretty straightforward circuit. So I assume they'll have this track finished, but I guess you can't tell. You never do know. But I assume it'll be ready to go for good racing. So I don't know. What I caught of the race in Markham and what I guess maybe I fear at another new track is kind of what we saw in Nashville at that street circuit. I loved the idea of it. I went to the last one they held before they moved it to the oval, and it was, as far as fan experience on the ground, I mean, besides it being too hot, you could get, it seamlessly blended the downtown Nashville and the racetrack. Although there were still people we ran into downtown just over the river that had no idea a massive race was going on the streets. But the racing product, I don't know what you thought of it, Ricky. If you remember it, it's just a bit of a caution fest, and not the greatest. And there were some complaints about it by fans.
Races, yeah.
What were your thoughts?
I agree.
Do you think
it wasn't a good
do
experience?
Do you think Markham was better than that? Because I was seeing, at least online, comparisons to Nashville. Do you think those are fair comparisons, or would you argue against those for the Markham?
I would argue against those. Markham was a fantastic track because it had width. When you've got width, you got a bit more space to be able to have a bit of racing. But also when you have crashes, the crashes were offline. With Nashville, when you had a crash, you blocked the track. Sort of like the Chicago street track, street race circuit in the NASCAR. No, Markham was its own track. They knew what they were doing, and I know Friday was a problem for everyone, but I reckon everyone should take that back. Markham is how you design a street track. You can have close racing. You can have overtakes. How important is overtakes? That's how you create a track. And when the crashes happened, they did not block the track. So Markham's up there as one of the best street tracks I've ever seen. For any category, for space, for overtaking, and just a bit of a different driver experience, because we got to see, like you said, the younger heads coming through, the unknowns that it had a great result, and the old heads kind of all had a bad race, you know. So no, Markham, that's a 10 out of 10 for me.
All the setup was aside and done. Once I saw that, checked in and saw that Louis Foster got the pole, and he was pretty fast in all the practice sessions. I was so excited, and I get in, and I was able to check timing and scoring. I saw, I don't know, it was 12 or so laps or more in, and he still had a decent lead. And I was thinking, this is fantastic. A track that, you know, to the extent any of the drivers have been on it, it's been in the simulator, and we've seen some videos put up on social media for different teams of Power, Pillow, different drivers in the sim for both Markham and for this DC course. So I'm excited to see maybe some kind of dark horse comes through. Somebody comes through that we didn't expect, like a Louis Foster, to get the pole and to just click with the track, and see something unique happen. I'll be interested to see if the same faces repeat, like say a Grosjean. Maybe some strategy helps there, but and as far as raw pace, see what somebody like Foster can do if he can get past kind of that nasty little ending to that race in Markham. The odds for the Freedom 250 are pretty much what you would expect for any IndyCar race these days. It's Alex Palou favored. Kyle Kirkwood on a street course is next. He's 3.2 to 1, or however you would say, and Lundgaard. Ericsson gets a little respect, +9, about 9 to 1 odds. If you want to go back to back for Marcus Ericsson, probably not a bad pick. You get almost $10 for every dollar if you choose to. But I don't know. For a race at a brand new track, I would go bold when it comes to picking. And I'm just going to roll out a pick for myself right now.
Yep.
Marcus Armstrong, 40 to 1 in the Meyer Shank. 40 to 1, Armstrong. I don't doubt the Meyer Shank cars. I mean, I think any week you can assume they're going to be there, both of those drivers, and then if they're not there, it's just okay. But I mean, they're there. They seem to qualify pretty well, both of them, generally speaking. So I'm gonna go with Marcus Armstrong. I'm not picking anybody up there in that upper echelon for the Freedom 250.
Right, I'm going to go. Good pick. Good to see a Kiwi getting chosen. I'm going to go the other Kiwi. I'm going to go Scott Dixon. I'm going to give it a crack. I feel he actually didn't do too bad in the last race. He was working his way up there. He just got done by that he had to do a pit stop under one of the yellows, which ruined his race, but he still managed to keep up there, and then obviously had to spin out because those restarts in the last race were fantastic racing. However, my driver Scott Dixon got taken out, so I'm backing him this week. I'm going for him because I feel he's starting to understand what Alex Palou is doing. I'm hoping Scott Dixon can take it to the finish line in first.
I would love to see that. I would absolutely love to see Scott Dixon get a meaningful last win in this final handful of races with Chip Ganassi. I mean, that's been a hell of an impactful relationship for a long period of time. You don't see that a ton in motorsport. I mean, Jimmy Johnson in NASCAR, Jeff Gordon, some of those classic names. I mean, he's right up there with that. I want to say I saw recently an article that Scott Dixon, along with several others, have joined old Jimmy Johnson in some ownership stake in his NASCAR team, Legacy Motor Club. So a little taste of Scott Dixon. I think Dario Franchitti was involved in that, and Tony Kanaan. It's good to see some of these big legendary names in the IndyCar series jumping over there and getting a little business interest in NASCAR. That kind of piques my interest in that team for some reason as an IndyCar fanatic.
Yep, I agree. I am a big fan of NASCAR too. I just love American motorsport, to be honest with you.
uh, so that you've got Dixon, I've got Armstrong. Mark it down. We'll get Rob's pick. We'll sub it in. He'll pick whoever finished on the podium. I want to close it off with just the general conversation topic. This is one that you've brought up, Ricky, and I think this is going to be one that resonates with a lot of IndyCar fans. Is do we need a third engine manufacturer in IndyCar? Somebody to go alongside Chevy and Honda. I think you and I are going to probably agree on this. I'm going to guess, and that the answer is yes. That we need a little more variety, at least even if it were one more car. Because I mean, when it comes down to the Indy 500 entries and some extra entries, it always seems to come down to the engine availability, or the amount of engines that are available for a team to potentially run, even if they have the tub. And that's about as technical as my knowledge of that goes. So I'll stop there with that. But it just seems like we would have a lot more options and maybe a larger field, but at least more competition in the manufacturer side. Here's what it makes me think of, and you probably all agree with me. I think of when IMSA here in America had only a couple prototypes competing, or when Le Mans, when it was just Audi versus Peugeot. It's a little bit like, it's still something I'm going to watch, but that particular piece of competition just gets a little bit less meaningful when there's not that many options to compete, when it's just Honda and Chevy.
Yeah, I agree. I just think I love the spec nature of IndyCar, because it really brings everyone closer together. Spec racing, that's the whole point of it. But it would be nice to see another engine manufacturer on there, because that might break up that spec feel. And teams are going to say, well, geez, we want to switch over to a third manufacturer because we want a chance to beat the guys that are already here. We can't beat Ganassi and Palou on his own car, so let's go get another car. And I'd imagine the Chevy teams are sitting there going, well, you can't come to us because we've got the teams that we want. So a new manufacturer would need to come in to try and add that extra dynamic. I believe we've got a fantastic spec championship. 2028, we've got a new car. The only difference I can see then, because apparently we're going to spec up a lot more on the 2028 car, which is going to make it even more tighter. The only difference we could have is a manufacturer, and that can only be good because all these engine manufacturers out there are trying to get their cut of the world in terms of sales. So IndyCar would be a great place, I feel, for them to prove that if they're good at the racing end, at the pinnacle of racing, particularly the Indy 500, it's the greatest race in the world. If you can perform there, that would no doubt, showcase you as a manufacturer. So yeah, I'd like to see another manufacturer in there. I don't know who could that be? Mercedes, Toyota, Ford. I don't know.
I'm gonna make you pick one, but I'll pick one. I think Ford would make a lot of sense as a series that races here in North America. I know they've all got their eyes on WEC and Le Mans in their own way, but I think Ford would be very neat to see a presence there. And Toyota would make sense too, honestly. I don't know. Who do you think? Would you co-sign any of those, or was there one that I'm not thinking of that you would jump into?
No, both. Actually, I didn't even think about Ford, but you're right. Ford have made a big push in the last 2 to 3 years to push that motorsport brand, Ford Motorsport. They've even they've injected a lot of energy over here in Australia in the supercar V8s. They brought over the Mustang Cup to Australia, and then in the world, obviously, they've gone to WEC, and that was in the GT3 initially, and now they're going to do a GTP car. Yeah, you're right. It makes sense for Ford to, if they're truly standing by, we want to dominate the world of motorsport. IndyCar's one there, more so the Indy 500.
Yes.
That would be, who wouldn't want to give that a crack? And Toyota. Yeah, Toyota was my pick. I believe Toyota is a company that they've just won the WEC Le Mans 24-hour. They've got history in IndyCar. I would imagine it wouldn't be hard to slot back in. I'd imagine sales are down. I heard that the EV race has caused a lot of these mainstream manufacturers to lose a bit of their game. And I think Indy 500 would be the one that would get them back to the top.
Yeah, that's perfectly said. I mean, it really, when you think of IndyCar, I guess, like you said, it really comes down to and narrows down on that Indy 500, because that is such a condensed kind of just euphoric racing event and meaningful event, and to get the win for any manufacturer or anybody that is involved, the engine, whatever it is, that carries you through the whole year. I mean, you could say it carries a ton of the IndyCar series through the year. But yeah, to see a Ford or a Ford engine and a Ford presence, and more of that, or a Toyota presence, or whatever it might be, or something shocking like I don't know, Porsche, BMW. I can't picture that in IndyCar for some reason. So I picture more of like a Ford or Toyota for some reason.
Yeah, you gotta look at something where if the brand's selling cars in that area, or they want to come over and sell their brand more in that area, then you'd have to look at the big players, like you say, Toyota, Ford. Porsche, well, they're just going for an absolute ratchet period in their company, right? You know, they're losing a lot of money, so I can't see Porsche coming over, but I would love to see Porsche come over, or BMW, or Audi, or whoever. Mercedes, bring back the 90s Mercedes. That was a fantastic. That's one of my favorite engines ever. But yeah, I think be realistic. Ford, Toyota. I think we're in agreement there.
So we'll see what happens. A new car coming, a nice new car, and we'll be watching this weekend. We'll see if our picks win, or see what happens. See if Alex Palou can extend his championship and kill Ricky's dreams and hopes for the end of the year points further.
It couldn't have gotten any worse. Kyle and David, yeah, they both had terrible races. I was like, what are you doing? Yeah, it was shocking. I couldn't believe it. The first race back, and yeah, they had a disaster. And then we didn't even really talk about Portland, because we're sort of, we're past Markham. But you go back to Portland, Palau goes and does the magic again. It's frustrating. But good on you, Alex. You're just a legend.
Yeah.
You're just the greatest at the moment. I'm not taking that away from you.
He's deserving of our respect. We've got this, and then I am very excited for a doubleheader of Milwaukee coming up before the month is out. So we'll be back after the DC race to recap that and look ahead to the Milwaukee races, where I'm at least interested to see for some different results. And yeah, you can't beat 2 IndyCar races in a weekend. The double headers are fantastic.
Actually, before you go on, before we finish up, I need to ask you a question. Why is there not as much ovals in IndyCar these days? Why is it more? There's like a quarter a road, a quarter are street, and then a quarter are short, and then they got a couple of speedways. Why can't there be more ovals? The whole reason it's IndyCar is famous because of the Indy 500, and yet that's almost one of the only tracks we go to that's an oval. I don't know what's changed, but I feel that oval racing, and we've checked the forums, and everyone's saying this, the oval races get more overtakes, get more changes in who can win. I always thought 2-3 years ago the reason why the series was doing so well is anyone could win on an oval. Well, there's definitely 10 cars up front that had a chance. Going back to Portland, I felt Portland was a bit of a procession race. There wasn't much overtaking. They couldn't even get past the lap traffic. They caused quite a problem in that race. So my question to you quickly is, why aren't we seeing more ovals? What's changed? What's made it turn into it's more of a street road championship with some ovals now?
Yeah, that's great, because I feel like if you look online at the IndyCar community, if you were in a give the people what they want mindset, you would give them more ovals. I feel like the Phoenix return this year was so popular, so loved, and it was just great. And that, even if it's that size of an oval, honestly, I like the Nashville Super Speedway more than the Nashville Street Course as it was, and it's a bit out of my way. It's drivable for me. It's really not even that worth flying to. It's so not too far, but I've been tempted to go every year that it's been there, because it's a spectacle to see these cars at the fast track like that, like it is at the Speedway. I feel like I'm going to copy what Rob has talked about in the past, just to me about it with the street circuits. It feels like we're getting those shoved down our throats, because it's, as he would say, it's taking the race to the people. not having to sell. Almost the track is just right there where they live and work and whatever, and you kind of shove it down their throats in that way. Maybe in some sense, whereas, like say the Nashville Superspeedway, it is quite far from downtown Nashville. It's almost inconvenient to pair that with a trip to Nashville if you were the traveling motorsport fan. So maybe that's why some people don't go and buy tickets, and you may have a lot of empty seats. But
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's a
I feel like that's it. I feel like it's maybe a bit of the promotion. Maybe there's a bit of trepidation after the Pocono crash with Robert Wickens. I don't know. That's just me kind of thinking out loud. But
I agree. The super speedways, yeah, they're dangerous. Yep, for sure. I'm a bit worried about super speedways, but when I look at the small ones like the 1 mile and the 1.5 mile, or even shorter, mate, they're fantastic to watch. Gateway is fantastic. Phoenix, you're right. Phoenix was one of my favorite races this year, and I just thought the track was amazing. And I know the Milwaukee Mile was going to be fantastic too. There's only 4 oval tracks this year, and it's actually happening quite often.
We need the Mid-Atlantic. The DC race gives them that market a venue this year, but they need to add Richmond back. Richmond's only 2 hours north of me. If they put it on the calendar, I would be there tomorrow. I would be camped out, and that would just be fantastic. But that, not just because it's close to me, but it's perfect size. It has lights. You could run a Saturday night race, a Sunday night race, as they had done, I think, at Gateway. And it's right in a market. Virginia, Northern Virginia, the DC area. There are a lot of people in that area. People that would come from North Carolina, where I am, and travel. Like I think it's a perfect market to get it a bit out of the Midwest. I feel like Iowa maybe didn't deliver. I mean, if you look at on a map at the Iowa Speedway, it's in the middle of nowhere as you possibly could be. So I feel like the promotion side is why we maybe lose tracks like that. But I think it's a great question of why we would have so few when it seems to be so beloved.
On track, Iowa was fantastic, but I get it. You need crowds, you need people to turn up to these things. Like I say, Nashville, obviously, with it having to go an extra day to actually do the race, that wasn't ideal. Yeah, I know tracks are in the middle of nowhere, but the race, I'm in Australia. I don't care about. I'm sorry, I don't care about who can go there because I can't go there. I just want to see a race. And the racing on those tracks is fantastic. I thought the broadcast is where they make all the money. Anyway, I'm just saying the on-track experience for someone on the other side of the world, I should, everyone's saying I'm Australian or Kiwi, I probably should like road tracks and street tracks. No, I like oval. That's why I watch Indy. And I only get to see it 4 times a year. It's not enough.
It really is. It leaves you wanting. So we'll put a bookmark in that conversation because I feel like this might come back up with us before or after Milwaukee. I would dare say this is not the last we talk about that, especially if we get a good doubleheader weekend at Milwaukee. I feel like our next session here, we're going to be waxing poetic about how much we want more ovals, and we have to wait until Phoenix and then God knows however long to get more. So we'll see what happens. Hey, let's see if Armstrong or Dixon can win this weekend, or see if Grosjean can come back, if Foster. I'm excited to see. It's going to be brand new, something never seen before, a course never raced on before, a one and done. So let's not get political about it. Let's just sit down and enjoy it, have a good time. And Ricky, glad to have you here with me as always. And we'll assemble after this weekend and see what happens.
Thank you. Good to talk to.
That's IndyCast. We'll see you next week. Cheers, everybody.